Okay, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm still working on season 3 of Mr. Mercedes. We're on episode 3, 4. And so I can't talk about the show. I signed an NDA, so don't ask me any questions. You're not going to get any answers. But that's why my background is kind of different and I'm not in my normal setting. But let's get right to the video. Aquaman, I finally watched it on Vudu, and I enjoyed the film. I didn't love the film. Jason Momoa did fine. Look, Amber Heard did fine. Willem Dafoe did fine. Everybody did fine. You know, it's just, there was just so much CGI that it just started to look too fake for me. And that was probably, you know, when all the characters are fighting and swimming and doing all this stuff, and they use the CGI stunt double characters renderings of the people, and they just start to look rubbery. And so much backdrops, like for example, when they go to Sicily, to put the eye, the bottle or whatever, the eye thing to look and see where the location is of the, you know, obviously they weren't in Sicily. They were on a soundstage somewhere. They never probably stepped foot on Italian soil. Everything was just superimposed CGI, you know, and that just, you know, the whole fountain scene just was so fake looking. It just pulled me out of it. You know, a lot of it pulled me out of it. The same kind of things. I get that they created this world underwater, but to think that like all these years, I mean, first of all, I thought the underwater scenes look like, you know, especially when they went to Atlantis, look like the Abyss on massive steroids and HGH. I mean, that's what they did with this thing. They took it to a whole new level with all the iridescent stuff and everything. But I guess like the Atlanteans, they can, their eyes change and they see everything in color, where I guess if a human went down, it would be dark and murky and they wouldn't see anything. And that's another reason why they were able to hide for so long. All of the creatures were just, everything was just so over the top. It reminded me of Pacific Rim in certain aspects, and it was just too much CGI. The Atlanteans are worse shots than Imperial stormtroopers. They can never hit anything, and they've got such advanced weaponry, and they still can't hit anything. They can't hit anything. And the only people that get killed, you know, or there was a lot of these, I guess they were Russians on a submarine in the beginning of the film, where Black Manta and his dad, I liked that storyline. I liked the actor that played his father. I think he was on ER back in the day as a paramedic, and he's been in lots of stuff. And I can't, his name is slipping my mind. I'm sorry, but I enjoyed the father-son dynamic there. You know, it's Jason Momoa, his character Aquaman. See, that's the thing. That's the thing about the movie. Okay, it's when I look at Jason Momoa, I don't see Aquaman. I see Jason Momoa. It's almost like Harrison Ford. When you see him in a movie, he's Harrison Ford. It's hard to see him as the character. And the only time he felt like Aquaman was when he was being really serious and focused. But the minute he cracked a joke and did something funny, and it just seemed like the Jason Momoa we see on the red carpet. And it's like it wasn't a stretch for him. It just seemed like he was having fun, which is great. As an actor, you want to have fun on set and have a good time, but it just felt like anytime there was a joke or a one-liner or something smarky that came out of him, he failed to be Aquaman and was Jason Momoa. That's what I got most from the film. I'm so glad, I have to say this, that they did not kill Black Manta. You know, I thought they killed him, and I was like, oh man, and when he fell off the cliffs and his head was busting and breaking and everything was, and I just, oh my God, I was like, they killed him. I was like, that's the problem I have with a lot of whether it's Marvel or DC, is that they kill all these bad guys in every movie. So, but in comic books, these characters are in the storylines for a long time. And so I was really pissed that I thought Black Manta's dead. This sucks. He was barely in the movie. He had one fight scene after he got his gear on, and he got his gear and the thing with his dad. But then in the post credits, they had a great scene with Black Manta coming back. It looks like he wants to seek revenge and get the Aquaman. He throws his grandfather's dagger at the wall, and I loved all that. I thought that was great because again, they always kill off these villains. Marvel's the worst for it, you know. Ultron, like in Age of Ultron, Ultron was such a huge character in the comic books, and they just give him a one-off movie. The Mandarin. It was like a joke in Iron Man 3, and same Iron Man 2 when they killed off Mickey Rourke's character when he played the Russian Whiplash. It's like they just kill these people, and Jeff Bridges was a great character in the first Iron Man, but it doesn't matter. The Red Skull, like, I'm so glad he like kind of came back in Infinity Wars out of nowhere. It's so weird because you thought he died, you know, in Captain America, but you know now he's back. Thank you. Let's see what else. You know, it started getting a little crazy with the hidden Earth in between the trench where the creatures were, that you had to get through the creatures, and then Atlantis was over here, and then it just feels like everything on the surface, because they talk about the surface people and the surface creatures. It just seems like at some point they'd have figured that shit out, that there is all this underneath this other world. And, you know, they kind of tied the movie into Justice League, where there was a line where Amber Heard, Mira's character, said something about killing Steppenwolf or sending Steppenwolf back with the war with Steppenwolf. And so they brought that up. And so, like, as soon as they brought that up, at any given moment in the film, I thought, damn, it would be great if Superman could come in and help. Because how would Superman not know all this crap's going down, especially when those tsunamis were created by the brother, and they were pushing all the ships onto shore and destroying things? Like, if this happened right after the thing with Steppenwolf, wouldn't Superman have been like, hey, what the hell's going on? Let me go check this out. Or even Wonder Woman at that point. Not that she could, who knows if she can swim, or, I mean, I'm assuming Superman could hold his breath and go underwater. But that's the problem with the standalones after they kind of launched it with all of them together. After Batman vs. Superman and then Justice League. By bringing them all together, you know, it's just, you know, and then to mention that, and I realize Aquaman was in production prior to when they kind of have done the soft reboot with all of the other films and the casting of Batman, and they don't know what's going on. They got Shazam, they got all this stuff coming on. And that's the other thing, you know. Anyway, I don't want to go off on a tangent. Let's talk about Aquaman. I just really felt like the movie was okay. You know, the CGI hair was cool. How they did all the underwater stuff was great. James Wan did a great job with the subject. I mean, he took a C character, and turned him into something that is like an A character. And that's the thing. Like, most people aren't invested in Aquaman. Most people don't care about Aquaman was a throwaway character. I mean, he just talked to fish. That was it. And he'd ride up on dolphins with a harness. Like, that's really what he did in the comic books. And of course they've had different iterations of him later on where he's been almost like Poseidon, a badass. But I don't know. I just felt like, Tamora Morrison, it was nice to see him in the movie. Jango Fett. The storyline between him and what's her name? Tom Cruise's ex. Oh my God, it's slipping my mind. But anyway, their love story was great, but I didn't like the age regression stuff they did in the beginning of the film, because it looked like they didn't do a lot of CGI like what they did with what Marvel does. It looked like they actually had a prosthetic piece of smooth skin on top of Tamora Morrison in his scenes, and then maybe they enhanced it with CGI. Something looked off. It didn't look as good as what Marvel has been able to pull off with the age regression stuff, but it was nice to see him bond at the end, and be with his love of his life again on the deck, at the lighthouse and all that kind of stuff. There wasn't a lot of storytelling in the beginning. Everything moved very quick, but you only have 2.5 hours to tell a good story. So, I would have wanted more detail about the love affair between his parents, Aquaman's parents, and more of his training. There was just little tidbits of it, but again, the pace of this film had to move. I did like the fact that right off the bat, the movie went straight into action mode. There was no drag time. There was just a lot of action right off the bat, and the action maintained for most of the movie. If I wanted to give this movie a grade, I would probably say I'd give it a C+. Okay, and that's it. I give Aquaman a C. So let's talk about it in the comments section, and we'll see you on the next one.